Welcome to the August webinar. Well, this webinar is a bit different to the ones we've done in the past, because I'm going to look at what's happening in retailing today and how we can build on the opportunities and challenges. So we're going to look at a lot of different areas at fairly high speed to get you to think about what's happening in the marketplace, because there's huge developments taking place in retailing. Many retailers are saying there are major problems out there that are outside their control, and I accept that the euro and the dollar is affecting all our retail activities, mostly for the detriment of what's happening in the marketplace. For example, in the UK, 11.8% of retail stores are empty. They've just disappeared from the marketplace. I was recently in a shopping centre in the USA, and they had 120 different sites, but only just 20 retailers operating. Some people are doing it exceptionally hard. So some things are outside of our control, but other things are inside our control. And that's what I want to look at today, is the developments inside your control. Why are we seeing changes? Because consumers are changing. Consumers' shopping habits are changing. The way they shop, and we all know of the introduction of online and the fact that bricks and clicks retail is essential for everybody in the retail environment, and we all need to be developing our clicks environment. The way they communicate has changed. We need a presence on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, etc., because online communications is a big issue. Consumers' expectations have changed, and that means that every retailer that is involved in this webinar has to change to meet their expectations from that point of view. It was Tom Peters in his book that said, if you're doing what you're doing now, in 5 years your business will be dead. That sounds pretty out of date, doesn't it, at this point, where everybody has to make changes every 12 months, otherwise they haven't got a business. So we're in a period of a major change in the marketplace. And of course every retailer is saying, what are you going to stop doing? What are you going to keep doing that's successful? And what are you going to start doing that you weren't doing before? So we're seeing all these major challenges and developments going on that we need to face as retailers in the marketplace. There's a wonderful book out there called Spend Shift. And if you haven't read Spend Shift, I'd urge you to read Spend Shift. Spend Shift talks about the fact that consumers are now value-based spenders. They're looking for value when they go buying. They want to learn new skills, and that is a huge opportunity to out-teach, not outsell your competition. Education is a new marketing tool in the marketplace. They're interested in durable living. They want things to last longer. Why? This is part of their value-based thinking from that point of view. And of course, as we all know, they're moving from a credit society to a debit society. So we're seeing these changes take place, and Spend Shift will go through those in some depth with you. Consumers, well, according to the book, they're doing more baking. They're also doing more activities with their family. They're doing more gardening. But one thing they're not doing more of is shopping. Interest in shopping is declining. So we've got this decline in shopping, but interest in activities basically based at home. So stayville, to use the American term, is very much in the consumer's mind. Plus there's a decline in trust. 64% of consumers talk with friends about a brand or a retail experience, your store. 56% say they rely on information they can get from online. Trust has dropped in retailing by 25% in 3 years. So the consumer has less trust for big business, politicians, retailers. So we've got this change taking place. They are shopping on price, and that is still the number one priority. They are shopping on convenience, that is their number 2 priority. They are shopping on retailing establishments that exceed expectations. That's their number 3 priority. So you may argue we can't do a lot about price. We can't do a lot about convenience, but we can do a lot about exceeding the consumer's expectations. That is our hidden tool. So one thing has changed is shopper satisfaction. That's down 15% in a year. Customers are dissatisfied with their shopping experiences. So we need to think about, what are we going to do? How are we going to exceed the consumer's expectations? Well, what are our delight strategies? What are we doing to delight the consumer? That is exceeding expectations. What are we doing as storytellers? How are we telling the stories to the consumer? What stories are we telling them? Because that could exceed expectations. What are the solutions we're providing rather than the product we're providing? We should be in a solutions strategy mode. That exceeds expectations. So there's some things we can do. And we need to increase the average time people are shopping in our store. According to Mary Porthouse, the Queen of Shops in the UK, women with men shop for about 4 minutes 41 in each store. When they're on their own, it increases to about 5 minutes 2 seconds. But when they go with a friend, a female friend, 8 minutes 51. So we need to be able to park men in a lot of shopping environments. We need a parking lot for men where they can be entertained and possibly educated and they feel relaxed, while women can shop longer in the store. So your challenge? Retailers are becoming perceived as the untrusted partner in the supply chain. Consumers are beginning to trust suppliers and manufacturers more than they are of the retailer. This is perception. And our challenge is to try and build trust as the retail partner in the supply chain. If we don't do that, more customers are going to be shopping online and going straight to the source of the product. And at the other end, the big boys want our market. So if you're not careful, you're going to be squeezed in the middle by the supplier and the big boys. So you need a strategy that is a clear point of difference. You need to own your market. Be the only independent retailer in the marketplace must be your business strategy. You must own your territory. That is one of the keys to growth in the future. How do you do that? You've got to create an overall value experience for the customer. You must provide a value experience. Now that takes us to really the experience economy, a book by Joseph Pine II, which is well worth reading. He talks about the fact that 4 things need to grow equally. You need to provide education, back to my out-teach, don't outsell. You need to provide entertainment. You need to create the right ambience for the consumer, and you need to provide escapism. And all 4 need to be grown equally in your business if you're going to grow your business. Consumers don't want your product anymore. They can go online to get most product. So they don't come in for product. The currency of value when you walk into a retail store from 2011 onwards is the experience. That's what they're looking for, not the product. So the currency of value is in the experience for the consumer. So we need to look at different ways. Price reductions started in 2008. And now many businesses have found they can't keep price reduction strategies going. They're going out of business. So they need to change their philosophy and they need to build on the value experience. It was Peter Drucker that said business only has 2 functions, marketing and innovation. And that's what it's all about today. You need to look at your marketing strategy and your innovation strategy, because now is the time of change. It has never been a better time to change your business. And for many of us, it means to survive we have to change. We did some research 2 years ago on where do people get accurate information on products. 40% said they relied on a salesperson. 34% said they relied on the internet. 23.6% said they relied on friends, while 1.8% used magazines. In the meantime, the salesperson has lost more credibility as a source for information, while the internet and friends have increased as a source for information. We also asked them, how do you develop it? And let me go through that again. 40% rely on salespeople, 34% rely on internet, 23% on friends, 1.8% on magazines. Look how important your online strategy is and your strategy in communicating through Facebook and other social media pages from that point of view. We asked in the last 5 years, in your view, of salespeople, have they got more knowledge? And 9.1% of people said they thought they had more knowledge. Less knowledge, 74.5% said they got less knowledge. Same knowledge, well, there was a big confusion between less knowledge and same knowledge. 29% said maybe less, maybe the same, but look at how consumers are perceiving salespeople today. Of course, when it came to customer service, 7.3% said it had improved. A total of 74.5% of people surveyed said customer service had deteriorated, while 18.2% said it had stayed the same. No wonder consumers are going online. They don't believe we're doing the right job. So what's your business success? Well, you've got to tell the consumer a number of issues. Who are you? Tell them you're serious. They're saying provide me with the best offer. Maybe not be the cheapest, it's the best offer. And be consistent in the customer package you put forward for me. I want you to be consistent in the offer. So retail stores that work, what are they doing right? They have a memorable brand. They understand their consumer. They ensure the customer comes back more often. And they keep to the basics, but they dare to be different. Well, let's look at this brand, this memorable brand. The consumer is exposed to thousands of brands a day, and yours is just one of them. And your brand, well, it's not a logo, it's not even a product. Your brand is not what you say it is, it's what your customer says it is. Your brand is about people, your brand is about experiences, and your brand is about the whole package you provide the consumer. Martin Lundstrom, in his book Brand Sense, did some research on how brands are perceived to increase in value. And we as consumers said the most important thing to start the journey was what we saw. Then this was followed by what we smelled. This was followed by the sounds we heard. Then it was followed by the tastes that we tasted, if that was relevant to the business. And then what we could touch. Now when he asked us to put percentages to this, 58% of us said the site strategy was important. 45% said what we smelled was important. 41% said what we heard was important. 31% said taste was important. And 25% said touch was important. Now I thought a sight would be a higher percentage. I also thought sound, smell, taste would be a lower percentage. So it's interesting how the whole perceived value of the brand is perceived by the consumer. This says we've got to have a sight, smell, sound, taste, touch brand strategy if we're to grow our business. So when it comes to sight, the visual moments of truth are critically important. The way we put displays together to make customers go wow is critically important. We need to have moments of truth, and we need to look at displays as customers see them. We need to look at what smells are in the business, what are positive smells and what are negative smells. How can we use the positive smells in a positive way? How can we hide some of the negative smells? Are we putting very attractive smells at the entrance? Dusk, the candle company in Australia, does this exceptionally well with the aromas of candles. Coffee, of course, is a big positive smell in many people's minds, and is used as a positive smell in businesses. And then, of course, is sound. How are we using sound? Is it too loud and scaring the customer? Is it the right beat? Is it the right style of music for the consumer? Or is the radio station on to keep the staff happy? Taste. If we're in the food industry, are we providing samplers? If we're providing in the food chain, are we telling them the value of taste? Because taste is an important element in the consumer's mind. And of course, everything is touchable. The consumer wants to touch things. They love touching products. It helps them buy. So we need to be in the touch industry. And I always smile when I see signs in businesses that say, please do not touch. We're there to sell a product. So your challenge is to take the customer in your retail brand journey and make it a journey that it needs to be memorable, consistent and unique. So how do you make your brand memorable? How do you make your brand consistent? And how do you make your brand unique in the consumer's eyes? Tempting the customer. Well, let's look at some easy ideas to introduce into your business. Number one is signage. Now, I've used signage a number of times on conference presentations and on webinars. Go back to basics. Use signs that work. Tell me what it is, give me 3 benefits, then give me the price. If it's new, tell me it's new. Consumers like to buy new product. So signage is something that's important. Link products to tell a story. Put products together that tell the story for the consumer from that point of view. Use displays to create ideas. Go and find some props that can help you put a story together for the consumer. So you're telling them you understand where they're coming from. Have at least one price promotion or volume-led promotion, because we know number one is price. Consumers buy on price. Colour is a theme. This is a paint promotion by Ace Hardware in America. They use colour themes. People buy on colour. One of the fashion colours, how can we put colour themes together for the consumer? Create some urgency in the marketplace. Make the consumer go, wow. Put up some signs that say wow from that point of view. So look at how you can be an innovative merchandiser. Number 7, do power displays that work. Circles create more of an impact than squares. Don't forget, my number 8 is the checkouts. They are profit centres. Take the average sale per customer, divide it by 3. And as an innovative merchandiser, put products at the counter that are 1/3 of the average sale per customer. Number 9, make sure these innovative merchandisers are providing some displays with flair. Number 9, have passionate people. Make sure that you have passionate people that understand their products. Provide product knowledge training sessions from that point of view. And number 10, look at yourself. Are you a retail leader? Are you providing new ideas to your team so they can develop ideas? Because in the future, passionate people with leadership providing innovation are going to have a very successful future if they understand the consumer and how the consumer thinks and how the consumer wants to buy. See, the global winners know the magic formula. They know neighbour-to-neighbour marketing is the future. Whether it's online or whether it's offline, they know they have to communicate in the community. The community is going to become more important to retailers in the future. They know they have to be green, sustainable businesses, that the consumer wants to work with a business they perceive as being environmentally friendly. They know they have to be perceived as fashion leaders, provide new products, and create, I put garden rooms, but that could be living rooms or whatever. They've got to think about the room settings the consumer is thinking about. They have to empower their team to provide awesome customer service. You see, what's going to happen in the future is we're going to have product, merchandise, price-led businesses. And many of those will be online businesses. We're going to have businesses that provide inspiration, solutions and trust. And these are mostly independent businesses. Consumers are going to shop for convenience that is price-led. That will be online or box stores. They're going to look for an experience that's authentic, and that's where they're going to go for the independents. It's the guys in the middle that are not providing either that are going to suffer, and these are the businesses that are going out of business today. 80% of companies believe they provide superior customer service. 8% of their customers actually agree with them. We do not provide superior customer service. I'm in Poland at present working with retailers. I've been around a number of retailers over the last week. We found one retailer that provided superior customer service that we all talked about. Yet everybody tells you they provide customer service. But remember, if you're providing mediocre customer service, it may take customers 2 years before they leave you. It is a slow death, and you may not understand why your business is dying. It may be that slow. Customer relations, there's a number of issues. You've got to choose your attitude. People want positive attitudes from sales staff. You've got to recruit great team members that have the right attitude. You have to get the balance of the team right. You've got to ask yourself in customer service, how you're making the consumer go wow. It's the E factor, it's the moments of magic, it's the enthusiasm. This means you've got to look at the business through the customer's eyes. Chit-chat, it's great, but it's rapport that makes a difference. It's building relationships that makes a difference. Complaints are a gift to your business, because it's better to be different than better. So do something different for the consumer. And then finally put in a mystery shop audit so you can measure the standards that you've set with your team. See, there's a process. You hire for personality, you train for confidence, and you empower the team members to make decisions with the consumer from that point of view. Because it's back to what Richard Branson said, the first function of retailing is selling a product. The second point of retailing, the second function, is what makes the difference. Social interaction, sensory experience, and immediate gratification. This is the formula that Richard Branson uses. It's a formula that works in the marketplace. Because you've got to take people up your loyalty ladder. Some people won't want to go up your loyalty ladder. They're suspicious of you. Some people don't even know you exist, but they're prospects. Some people know you exist, but never been in your store. They're shoppers. Some people are customers. They shop in your store today, shop in somebody else's store tomorrow. They cherry pick. Some customers become clients. They're loyal to you, but never say anything to anybody. While the advocates talk about you on Facebook, at coffee bars, to their friends, etc. And of course, interruption marketing takes people from being prospects to customers. Your permission marketing strategy takes them from being customers to advocates. So there's 4 key questions you must be able to answer. What does the best mean in the customer's eyes? We need to ask your customers to find that out. Number 2, what does the customer expect from us and how do we exceed their expectations? You need to ask your customers to find that out. You need to know what's the delight strategy, expectation +1, as far as they are concerned as consumers. You've got to ask, how can you delight your customers? How can you do it consistently? And how do you measure your success rate? At present, in Schiphol Airport, KLM, the Dutch airline, are providing presents to consumers in the airline, in the lounge. No one knows what the presents are because they keep changing. No one knows if they're going to get a present. But everybody knows within that loyalty club family that KLM are providing random acts of kindness. And the vibe is going around about how good a business they are at present. How are you saying thank you to your customers? Is it a thank you card? Or is it Ben & Jerry's free cone days, which are just 1 day a month? Because your job is to reduce the customer stress. Now, according to David Lewis and Darren Bridger in their book The Soul of the New Consumer, stress is built on, number 1, congestion in aisles. Consumers don't have space. Delays when they line up or queue up at the cash register. They don't want a line of more than 4 people. Difficulty in locating products because they don't understand your layout. Music that's too loud, it's too hot or it's too cold. Lighting that's too bright or too dim. Tannoy announcements that they find annoying. Confusing layout. They can't find their way around the store. And inefficient or bad signage. Back to my signage strategies. And bad labelling. So, back to our 4 key questions. What way do we build categories? Are you putting categories together and merchandising according to context? You may say, whose context have you got to do it? That female shopper, that 35 to 45-year-old consumer that comes in your business. You need to understand how she shops. This is a paint store in South Africa, but there's not a tin of paint there. They understand the fashion and the consumer. And you've got to ask, is the team capable of providing the offer in the future? And that may not be the case. We've just been working with a business in Canada, and I said to the owner that through the change I expected 20% of his team to leave because they weren't capable of providing the offer. He actually replaced 50% of the team because 50% were not capable of providing the offer. So the challenge, are you a solutions and ideas retailer? According to Neville Stern in the USA, solution retailers have 3 times higher conversion rate than product retailers. So you should be bursting with ideas, you should be displaying products in different ways to put a smile on the consumer. Because the challenge is, are you providing ideas? Look at this chair company in South Africa. What a great way of showing a variety of chairs while the consumer stands in one space and gets inspired. Are the team storytellers? Do they understand the stories? Are they prepared to engage the consumer and be the best storyteller in town? Are we marketing for the future? That means throwing away the yellow pages, not advertising in national newspapers, but thinking about product placement. And Coca-Cola did a brilliant job on American Idol. It's about accepting and involving the 3 screens of marketing: the TV, the computer, and the smartphone. And of course the smartphone is going to change marketing dramatically over the years to come. And we've written a book on smartphone, and we've done a webinar on the smartphone. So there's more information there for you to pick up on. So you don't need to know how it works. You need to know how to use it. I don't know how my car works, but I do know how to drive it. We need to know how to drive retailing. We don't need to know how smartphones work, how computers work. We need to know how to drive retailing. We need to know how this consumer shops. Where does she go for inspiration and relaxation? Well, we know she goes to coffee bars. We know she goes to clothes shops. We know she goes to delicatessens. We know she goes to farmers markets. We need her to get you into your business and be inspired and look at solutions in what you do as well. So you need a priority plan as a result of this webinar. You need to ask yourself, what are the 3 things you need to change to make a difference in your business? This is an interesting time of change and opportunities. You need to look at those challenges and you need to make some changes. I came across a business this week that I worked with 12 months ago. We went through a number of changes and he hasn't made one of the changes yet. But at the same time, he told me business had gone downhill. He expected this year to make more money as a retailer by doing the same things as he did last year without changing anything. Well, that's a sign of madness. You have to make changes to grow your business. Don't want you to be mad. I want you to make changes. I challenge you to make the changes so you can grasp the opportunities. What we're going to see is the Me Too retailers disappear. You need to own the market. I hope I've given you a lot of things to think about in this webinar. You probably need to go through it again with your team. Probably need to get that action list going. I'll talk to you again soon. In the next few weeks I'm going to be in the States, Canada, into Japan, into South Africa hopefully, and back into Australia, as well as being in Europe. So I'm going to be doing a lot of travelling in the next few weeks. I look forward to seeing some of you and talking about the contents of this webinar. So I hope you've enjoyed this webinar. I hope you've taken on some of the challenges, and I look forward to talking to you again soon.